Vice President Harris delivered her concession speech following former President Trump's win of the presidency last night.
She told a crowd of supporters she was proud of the campaign she ran. Harris also urged her supporters to keep fighting. Here's part of that.
While I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. The fight for freedom, for opportunity, for fairness, and the dignity of all people.
CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes is still there after the vice president's remarks. Nancy, the vice president started her remarks saying the light of America's promise will always burn bright, reminiscent of her speech the night before Election Day. She also said, quoted an adage, "Only when it is dark enough can you see the stars." What stood out to you about the speech?
Well, it almost seemed like a bit of a therapy session for not just the Democratic supporters who were here in the yard, as it's known, at Howard University, but for Democrats across the nation who are shocked and devastated today, who thought that Kamala Harris was going to become the first female president of the United States. She told them, yes, the outcome is not what we wanted, but I'm so proud of the race we ran, the way we ran it. She said it is not the time for despair. And she mentioned, as you noted, that there are many people who feel that the nation is now entering a dark time, but she urged her supporters to find some light in the darkness, if that's how they feel, through service, through becoming politically active, or even just being kind to one another.
Nancy Cordes, thank you so much. Let's bring in our political panel, Hyma, Maura, and Maura Gillespie. Hyma is a Democratic strategist who served as the director of the Office for DNC Chair Jamie Harrison. Maura previously served as an advisor to former Republican House Speaker John Boehner and former Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger. Thank you both for being here so much. Maura, the vice president talked about there being a peaceful transfer of power. We heard John Dickerson say, you know, in ages past, that would sort of be a throwaway line. She lingered on it. What did you make of her remarks?
That was an important point to make to people, is just to remind them what happened 4 years ago when we didn't have a peaceful transfer of power. And again, I think that was a positive message to remind them that, because again, you know, the country was so divided. If you talk to people before the election, so many people were afraid of the outcome, whether you talk to a Trump supporter or a Harris supporter. They were so afraid of what the outcome was going to be. And so to bring it back to the fact that we are a country that will survive this moment, no matter if you wanted her to win or wanted her to lose, we'll survive this moment. We will continue on. Our democracy will continue because we do have adults in the room here who are going to give the peaceful transfer of power, who are going to help during a transition. And reminding the American people that they're going to do that, I think, was honestly top notch.
And Hyma, you mentioned to us on the set as we were watching that the speech that Vice President Harris gave reminded you of one that Hillary Clinton made. What were some of the similarities there?
Yeah, Doug, and look, I worked for Hillary Clinton in 2016. And so last night was very tough for a lot of us, and this morning's been very tough for us. But Hillary Clinton gave a speech the Friday after the election in 2016 that was two things. One, to assure us as campaign staffers that, like Kamala Harris said, life goes on, we can pick up ourselves and keep going. And then secondly, she felt very, very strongly about making sure people understood that every 4 years this happens. And it doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump or if it's Bill Clinton or if it's Barack Obama. We've got to have this change of power. And when you're in this fight, it's okay to lose sometimes, but you got to figure out how to pick yourself back up, put the pieces back together, and move forward. I think that's what Kamala did today.
And real quick, you did not see that speech as setting up for a 2028 run.
No, I don't think so, Lindsay. I think this is too. Look, Vice President Harris ran a really great campaign. I'm very proud of her, and I'm proud to call her a friend. I think she was tremendous. But it's too soon to say. We have some fantastic candidates who will emerge in 2027 and 2028. A bunch of governors, a bunch of members of Congress, a bunch of senators, mayors. And so I think it's too soon to say the vice president's going to prepare to run again. And I don't think that's fair for our party to say that right now.
Maura, were you struck by just the detail with which Vice President Harris went into the importance of a transition of power, as if almost to use the Hillary Clinton, they go low, we go high. And by not mentioning what she was really referencing, she made sort of a grander point, as John Dickerson pointed out, that needed to be made.
I just think it was to kind of quell the concerns that so many people have. Again, the emotions were so high going into Election Day. Fear was one of the prominent things that was being played upon during this entire election cycle. And so to try and remind people that that's not going to change, that we are going to move on, and the transfer of power is important to our democracy.
Hyma, Maura Gillespie, thank you both so much for being here. We appreciate it.